also the executive officer of ICR NAM's technology business called A Idea. Along with me today, we have a very important guest, financial mental fund advisor, Mr. Naga Prakasham. Mr. Naga Prakasham is a versatile leader with 25 of global and also in India, he has been more than a decade a full-time investor. He 15, led 15 deals. He has invested in startups, now 13 board, 15 strategies, 2 write-offs. He has been head impact in international work. He, his personal mantra is startup should focus on strength, people, and problems. Technology, apart from partner with serve as an independent director, not its portfolio is guardian, a venture advisor fund, and is part of environment impact circuit. He has been supporting many other organizations, including IEDC, that is Innovation and Entrepreneurship Development Center program, initiated by Department of Science and Technology. He is also on the board of trustees of Native Lead Angels, serves as a member of NSRCEL, which is incubation center of Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. He is also an advisory board of A Idea. Sir, I welcome you here and hope this session will actually have a lot of impact and learnings to our startups. Before I start, I request Naga Prakasham sir to have his opening remarks. Meanwhile, I want all the participants to type their questions or queries or suggestions in the chat box, which is there on the upside of the right side of your corner. So, sir, it's over to you. Naga sir, it's over to you.
Great. Yeah. Good evening, everyone, and big salute to all of you because you're all entrepreneurs and you're also leaders because there is so many people are looking up to you, and this is a tough time, not for sure. But the thing is, I think you chose to probably join this call. That shows that you want to figure out how do we come out of this pretty well, right? And at the same time, this is a very good sign as well because you have an option to glue onto a TV, try to understand every conspiracy theory going on around the world, or you can try to maybe understand about what can we do differently about what different options, right? So with this thing, so first thing is about the positivity, right? I want all of you to stay very positive because the world is full of very very wonderful, intelligent people. I'm sure all of them will figure out a solution for this problem. We will come out of it, and the we need to do is stay positive because some of you may not have answers to all the questions, but you're all entrepreneurs, right? People are looking up to you. There are families depend on you, so you need to understand, ensure that you are there to take care of them and provide, be a leader. That is one. The second is about staying very positive. Probably see a TV one or twice a day, but not glue onto a TV this maybe a whole day trying to figure out what's happening. And the third thing is about as an entrepreneur, we all know that I'm sure the cash is the major one right now. Whatever the cash you have, try to conserve as much as possible. Renegotiate every payables. Everybody would understand, but ensure that your employees are taken care. Talk to them, provide the minimum viable remuneration they would need to probably stay afloat this time, and can they take a lower salary probably later. If they are willing to help you around during the crisis, reward them with the good employee stock options when things get better, right? And also So this is a great time, and three angles, right? One is if you have an ability to probably refocus, right? Think about what you wanted to do always and you are not able to do achieve. This is the best time probably you could do that. Or if you are in the space, I'm sure we are addressing most of you all in the agricultural space, which is a very good news. Because today crisis, there are two things which are doing very well, which is about anything around healthcare and about essentials. So you fall in the second category of essential, right? If it is in the healthcare, if you are able to produce products which could be the personal protective equipments or mask or all those come under the PPEs, or if you are more technical, if you are able to provide technologies for people who can probably utilize your skills to make products for your healthcare needs. I'll give you some examples. Right? We have one startup, she was in crafts, and during this time nobody is going to buy a Pochampalli sari. She pivoted to making a PPE. So she got a 3 crore worth of order with an advance payment, right? So that is the potential of about repurposing your skills. Whatever the skills that you have today, can you repurpose your skill to achieve, to solve the current needs and the current problems, right? Immediately in the healthcare, anything around the PPE, there is a huge demand, right? People are making masks, which could be a one level, but can you create mask which is about medical grade, right? And we have an agriculture startup in Bangalore who was providing IoT solutions, weather forecasts to startups, the agriculture farmers. So he saw that during this time, selling his IoT to the farmer is going to be tough. So what he figured out is using this knowledge, he repurposed his skills, making sanitizer tunnels. Right? It's the same model, right? IoT based, sensor based. When you walk in, it tries to sensitize you. And there is another startup who are into IoT or 3D printing, start making masks. They're able to make a mask and they're able to make it a medical grade now. They're able to sell it to hospitals now, right? And now they're figuring out a way to scale it up. So there was another agriculture startup and he was providing a kind of an agri clinic, right? He's like an agri mitra. He was providing inputs help to farmers. So he saw that during this time the supply chain is broken. So with the supply chain broken, there is quite a lot of farmers who are harvesting produce now. They're struggling to take the product to the market. So he immediately switched to marketing their produce because he has the field contacts, right? In the field, he has around 20 plus people in the field providing, helping the farmers. Today, they're able to completely switch and then start looking at how can we help the produce. So today, he's sending around 600 orders every day to people in the apartments, right? He's just sending a bulk orders and sending these vegetables to this farm, to the consumers directly, become B2C. One of my investment in Kerala, it's Farmers Press Zone. So there is a model of a cluster, which is also incubated at IEA as well. So he has a model of about cluster, right? And he has a vegetable store in Cochin. 2-3 hours from there, you have Iringalakuda, his village, where he has the vegetables coming from the farmers. He has agripreneurs who takes the inputs of the farmers, put it in the application. He has a traceability. So if you walk into the store, you scan the tomato crate, it'll tell you where the tomatoes came from. That's the level of traceability that he has. During this crisis, where everybody is struggling with the ability about wondering about the safety and as well as the supply chain, he has a zero disruption of service. Right? In the last 20-25 days, he's able to triple his revenue. Even a big e-commerce company is calling him now today to provide supply because they don't have a supply in Cochin. He wants their help. The second thing is happening as well, that if this is a time, if you are in an organic space or if you're doing safe to eat, people are going to be looking at more health aspects as well. Because this 25 days, people sitting at home, they're all thinking, And I'm sure the future also there is a quite a bit of potential possible where there is a two kind of scenarios will happen, right? One scenario is that today the richest country in the world with all the money in the pocket, they're not able to save 30,000 of their people, right? Then what is the use of the money? So it's going to create a major question in people about how are we going to look at the new world where with the current model with the developed countries with a lot of money, they're not able to solve the problem. They're helplessly seeing people passing away, right? So this will make us to rethink the new world order, what we talk about. What is the new world order could be that, is there a sustainable model that we could bring? Yesterday we were celebrating Earth Day, and you saw that the last 25 days Earth is healing very well. So that could be a potential that people will start to look at sustainability more and start realizing that we've been taking the Earth for granted. Its nature is coming back to us. So there is a potential for sustainability. In that, agriculture plays a major role, because if you are into organic produce and producing agriculture with less water, with less resources, aquaponics, hydroponics, any of these things which is able to be very light on the air, the sustainability angle is providing a fantastic in the future as well. But right now the current needs in the agriculture space is about market. Many of the farmers today, they're all sitting at home, or the harvesting is done. They're struggling to take the produce to the market. If you have access to any farmers, this is a great opportunity for you. Probably figure out a way how can we market their produce to the customers so that you help the farmers when there is a need. Then the second is, if you are able to give them the confidence about ability to market their produce, because they need to go back and cultivate more, right? Because they should not be scared that, okay, there is no market, I should not be sowing the new seeds for the next season. So this will give them the confidence that there are people out there to help us in marketing. They have to continue to produce because we need a lot of people to feed, and the farmers need to be continue to work for us to have enough food supply for us to take it forward to people. So that is why the people in the agri sector, the immediate potential fantastic opportunities about market. How do we help the farmers with the helping them with the access to the market? And there is a supply problem as well, that consumers are struggling to get supplies, and this is a great opportunity. You don't need a lot of marketing. The moment you say that you have a source, you have a supply, like AgriMitra has done, like Farmers Fresh Zone has done, you have a potential to take it forward. And there may be an opportunity also for you to look at, you may not have access to the farmers, but you may have a technology, like for example, my another investment called Fresh World. We supply vegetables, we are a B2C, and we put it in a push cart, right? This push cart is an electric vehicle. We sell these vegetables on the streets. Our cart operators take the vehicles and sell it to people. But now with this current lockdown, it's not safe to move around the vehicles and keep the vegetables in an open space. So what we have done is that we were looking for an online capability. And we saw an online e-commerce company which was selling meat and which was struggling to cope up with the current demand and the availability. So we quickly acquired. So this happened in the last 2-3 weeks. During the lockdown, we are able to acquire a company. We are able to utilize their online capability. We opened up online a way of selling our vegetables. Today, we have our 45 electric vehicles. None of them are running. But our hubs are open. With this app, people are ordering through our app, and we are able to deliver from our hubs, right? Our warehouses directly to the consumer we are selling. And so this is the way, that opportunity for you to collaborate as well. So don't think too much, think very fast in collaboration, in merging with other companies and which have a complementary skills. When you add all these skills together, you can attack this problem very fast, and also you have a strength to attack these problems as well, because every crisis is an opportunity. And also in the future, right, if you look at one I mentioned about the sustainability, a lot of people have talked about the climate change, the earth, the sustainable angle, and how the earth is healing, and how agriculture practices which are being very, very less resource taking thing, whether it could be intense rice planting, this ICR scientists have figured out, or it could be a variety that is more resistant, or it could be consuming less water, or it could be technologies which you can utilize to predict the failure in the crop so that the resource utilization is reduced. So anything around sustainable agriculture, that's going to be a huge future. The second element which I mentioned about the supply chain disruption. The supply chain disruption means that people are going to look at more and more decentralized models, like what the Pradeep I mentioned about Farmers Fresh Zone. We have 3 layers of circles, right? The inner circle is that the staple products which are produced nearby. With 3 hours of drive, you can able to procure these vegetables from the farmers coming and supplying to these shops or online models, which also allows you to have the farmers come down, interact with the consumers as well. The 3-hour drive come and maybe talk to the people as well, so that you are able to communicate that is coming directly from the farmer. So that's a decentralized model where you have an ability to have your consumer and the producer closer. That's going to be a new model, and there's going to be a lot more opportunities opening up. The other part is about technologies that we could produce, because people today going to look at, am I going to eat healthy produce? That brings back about safe to eat vegetables, organic vegetables, the vegetables you are using with less pesticides or no pesticides. Now you need technology to prove it. So that's why what we talked about earlier, and in some of these startups are looking at as well about this blockchain. All these things, technologies are also possible to provide these ability to give the transparency to people, so that they are able to look at the produce and be very happy that I'm eating sustainable produce that I'm very happy about. So that is a great opportunities in those areas around as well. So now, there is there are agri-tech companies, right? I always kind of joke about there was too much of tech, not much of agri, because many of them are looking at technologies which were a little expensive for the farmers to consume. So that means that they ended up selling to the middleman, right? They ended up selling to the processing companies which can afford. Even 2-3 days back, there is one startup called me and said, "Sir, I want to help the farmer, but I'm going to start an AI and then figure out a model that crops failure potential I'm going to leverage through AI." And I said, "Who's your customer?" He said, "My customer is the insurance company." He said, "If you expose the vulnerability of a farmer to the insurance company, the insurance is going to increase the premium of the farmer. Whereas if you can use the technology and go to the farmer and say that you are vulnerable, and these are all the 10 areas that you can work around to solve the vulnerability, then you will be in a better position on the crops failure." So that business models need to change to help the farmer, not just help the middleman, so that the middleman can squeeze the farmer more. But for that you have a great opportunity. Then people will say that my technology is costing more. So that is why you need to come up with a business model that we are a sachet country, right? We are not able to afford a shampoo, which is 2-liter shampoo for $200, but we can afford a 1 rupee sachet. So if you're working with the farmers, can you identify a sachet model of business models? Then you can take your products to the farmer. Or the second is about the farmer producer companies, right? There are thousands of FPOs have created across the country. Can you sell your product and technology to the FPOs, where the FPOs can share these products with their members. Cost and benefit is being shared among many of these farmers. So like this is a great opportunity to rethink options for us to ensure this farmer who is committing suicide or coming out of farming every day, how can we help? Because we now realize that how essential is the food is, right? You have people in India trying to kill the time. They're trying to figure out how do I spend the time. I'm getting bored and working from home and all that. For the next set of people, they have no home, right? They're trying to find a home which is 1,000 kilometers away. They're migrant workers. So they're all coming back to their villages. Their livelihood is lost. That's another opportunity for people in rural areas in working with farmers. Can you make them agripreneurs? Can you train them in technologies? Can they take your technology to the farmers? Can they be your people on the ground who can help you to procure produce that you can sell it in the nearby towns and cities? Look at every problem as an opportunity to leverage every angle of it, not worry about what the future is going to be. Let's convert the future to our advantage, and that is the potential that you all have. I think with this I will probably stop, and I'll ask Srinivas to see if we have any questions. I will be happy to answer the questions now. Hi, Vijay, can you hear me? That's it.
Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
yes, yeah. That we can go?
One second, sir. I'm telling Dr. Srinivas.
Questions? There are a couple of questions from the audience. I'll start with them. Then I have some more questions from myself also. So one of the speaker who says who has a who is working on the dehydrated vegetable domain, and he used to receive a lot of orders from southern India, but due to broken supply, he stopped taking orders. He wanted any connects if we can suggest to him,
yes.
so that he can resume his business.
Yeah, I think the one is about if you are an essential produce, if you have an access to the supply, if you have supply is clear, and you can probably you can communicate with the customer, right? During this time, it is more important to start communicating with your customer about your abilities. So your existing customer, you reach out, you start talking to them and say that continue to order, we will figure out a supply for you, and also start communicating to them about the needs as well. If because we are in an essential space, everybody would need the food, the supply chain should not be broken. So what are all things working right now, right? So this is one of my startup called Native Special. So we we sell these native made snacks. Your Pute Reklu from Andhra, right? Tirunelveli Halwa. All of them we were sending from the original place and then send it to the cities. So today we were using courier to ship this produce, but the couriers are not operating, we are not able to ship it. But what we figured out now is that many of the couriers are working hub to hub. If you are shipping from Chennai to Bangalore, the hub, if you are able to send this produce to the hub, the courier in the Bangalore hub, they will send it to the Chennai hub. Then it is your responsibility to somebody in Chennai pick it up and distribute it, right? That is possible. Even overseas, we are able to ship products. There are 2 flights going on every day, depends on how it is filling. So we are able to ship products to US. Yesterday, there is a shipment of 200 things went to the US. There is a Ministry of Ayush has recommended something called Kapasura water. That is an immune booster. We've shipped around hundreds of these products to US just few days back through the flight. So what you need to do is ensure that you have orders. People will be wondering about the ordering, whether you will be able to supply or not. So you reach out proactively to your existing customer, tell them you continue to order, I will figure out a way to supply. Once you have the order, find out where the order is coming from. Like for example, for Native Special, we have quite a lot of orders came from Bangalore. What we have done is, there is a truck coming from Karur to Bangalore. In Bangalore, we've tied up with the local delivery company called Small Bag Delivery. So that Small Bag Delivery, we've given the addresses of people in Bangalore. So they go to the truck, collect the material, they'll start supplying the materials in the city. So many of these small cities and towns also, as a delivery companies running today, you identify these delivery companies, you are able to get the products to that town or city, then these delivery companies will be able to deliver to the local towns. So supply chain is working. You need to be a little more innovative about how to leverage the existing running supply chain for your produce. So first of all, communicate with the customers, get the orders, identify where the order is coming from, then just start figuring out hub to hub deliveries, go talk to the local courier service, local logistics companies, which may be running trucks to a city to city. You can be able to send it. And if you are able to get an essential, if you are in a food products, go meet the local authorities, get a pass, and make sure that you provide the pass to the logistics company as well. They know that they are able to take the produce. When you ship the produce as well, take some element of a product, put it in a very transparent bag along with your e-pass, so that when the checkpost people stop, the truck person can show the product that this is a product and he has a e-pass and we are taking this product to this place, so that they are able to show that this is an essential product you are transferring. Yeah? Good. Next question.
Before that, I just wanted to add that there is one Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India on their website. They have that this transport details available. Where the trucks are going and e-passes are how to make the e-passes available. So next question by Vishal. He wanted to say, sir.
Perfect, excellent. And also here,
so next question is from the Vishal. He wanted to ask, what is your view on the need or demand of the cold storage units for vegetables and fruits in rural areas? They can be on the grid or completely off-grid units.
No, this is very, very much important. Cold storage for Indian agriculture system is very much proven. It is very, very important. Wherever we have seen cold storage operating very well, like this potato farmers in Gujarat, they are utilizing the cold storages very well, that they are able to leverage the seasonal produce and release that throughout the year, right? So like that, I've seen in Meghalaya, there is a cold storage, one of our startup is using Elijah, and he has wild apples coming out of his Meghalaya village that comes in only one season. After the season, that's not available, so he stores around 20-30 ton of these wild apples in this cold storage, and he releases throughout the year these wild apples to people. So the need of the cold storage is very much proven, and wherever you have an opportunity, there is a huge potential. What happened is about the cold storage have a very good subsidies available by the government of India. that it attracted a lot of wrong people who came in just for the subsidies and put up, but they are not operating properly. If you are able to find a model where you have a cold storage and it is feasible for the farmers to utilize it, because many of these cold storage have become expensive. There is a cold storage in Bangalore, with one of the very reputed agri department, right? So I was told that in the cold storage they are storing chapels, right, not vegetables. There's a big showroom is storing the chapels in the cold temperature because this cold storage is not affordable to the farmer. So that is why identify a business model where you are able to utilize this cold storage potential and make it affordable to the farmers. Then there's a huge potential for cold storage, and also even a simple warehousing, right? If there are, if not perishable food and vegetables, if there are dry items, if there are like turmeric, right? We have an FPO in Erode, and what they've done is just build the huge warehouses and have the farmers store the turmeric in the warehouses, right? These farmers just come in, put the turmeric in the warehouse, they take the warehouse receipt, then they can get a loan from the bank with the warehouse receipt against their inventory. So now we have seen that farmers are storing turmeric in these warehouses for 2 years, and they release that whenever there is a need, they say that okay, release 1 lakh worth of turmeric and give me the money. So this is the potential of warehouses and cold storages. It's very well proven, but the model is the one it is not working very well. Where there is an organized FPO putting together a proper system, it is working. Where a small time farmer to access this cold storage, it is still not viable. From the cost perspective, if you are able to bring about a cost model, then you are able to understand, get a better model as well. And to the question what Srinivas mentioned about this truck movement, if you are a registered company, I was in a call with the DST before this. DST also mentioned that about if you are a DPITT registered Startup India registered startup, look at the Startup India portal as well. They are asking for database of people who are facing problems in supply chain, the truck movement. They want to identify the problems so that they can advise the appropriate authorities with that problems. Yeah. Okay. Next question.
Next question is from Mr. Rakshit. He wanted to ask the first question, probably he did not join at that time, about the funds and salaries, that government has ordered not to cut the salaries or lay off the employees. How to manage high and medium profile employees' salaries? Or actually how to manage the finances?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the government is making that mandatory for the blue collar workers, right? The laborers, you are not supposed to do that. I'm sure their expenses, they are maybe lower rank, probably their salary may be relatively less for you to manage. The second thing is about start bartering with people. So 2 of my portfolio are at zero revenue now, right? So but we need to figure out payment for these, some of these people. So what we have done is, two of my other portfolio are in vegetable business. So what we have done is we have taken a 10,000 rupee grocery credit from my other portfolio, and we started giving out to these employees that during this time you can take this voucher and buy your vegetables and groceries from the startup. So between these startups, they've signed a loan agreement that once things get better, so this company will pay back the loan to this company which is selling vegetables and groceries to other startups. Like that, you start figuring out how can you barter, provide necessary essentials to your employees through different avenues as well. It need not be cash all the time. As long as you are able to take care of them, then your potential is there. The other part is about if there is a very low rank people which is very poor bracket, the blue collar, I'm sure there is a ration is also government is providing. Probably you can also ensure that what government schemes are available today, that is reaching out to them as well. Probably you can reach out to the local NGO who is aware about these government schemes that you can probably avail so that they are able to get. Like for example, in one of my startup, that we have a crops, we work with a lot of weavers, right? So what we have done is that this company is going to be zero revenue now. This is Gokoa, right? What we have done is we are launching a project to feed 10,000 weaver families next 3 months. So now we've started raising grants for this project, right? So then all our employees are involved in raising funds and organizing logistics so that we are able to send these groceries and food supplies to these weaver families. So we are like this, we are repurposing the skills. So the entire organization is now raising grants to feed the families of the weavers. Like that, figure out opportunities and as well as figure out various ways, innovate about how do you take care of your employees. There are multiple ways. Cash need not be the item, right? Barter and have them repurpose their skills. Probably if you have the skill, can you utilize the skill for something else? Like for example, we have one startup that it is working on 3D printing, right? But we have another startup who had order for a mask. Then this entire 3D printing they have modified to make the mask for this other startup. Both of them are collaborating for people to work on. And the other thing is about there's quite a lot of programs going around COVID response. You're able to repurpose your skill. If you're able to identify new models about help a farmer to sell the produce, helping the farmer, helping with the vegetable, helping with the units about not the vegetables that are going wasted, you have a skills, you have technology for processing, and probably apply to all and schemes available by the government as well that how you are helping. There is one is, as I said, there are two angles to this COVID, right? One is about health angle. It is all about saving lives. Then the next is about essential. It is about ensure that the people are not starving. So we come under the second category in agriculture. We are ensuring that people are not starving, which is also an essential. There's a third category about sanitizers as well, right? The people working in waste management, they are working like also as usual because people living at home, staying at home, waste is being produced that need to be processed as well, otherwise that get contaminated. Like that, all these are now considered as a very, very must products. So try to figure out many schemes by the government and also by the private players coming out, leverage these schemes so that are you eligible for this scheme so that you are able to produce products which can address the current needs which automatically which take care of your employees' salaries as well. Yeah. Next question, Sri.
So the next question is from the Victor. He is talking about the FPOs, that there has been a lot of conversation.
Yes.
So again, shall I do it? Again, shall I?
Yes, sir. Please come again.
Hello.
Please come again. Please come back with the question.
So, so again, the question is basically towards the FPO, sir. FPO,
Yes.
there has been a lot of conversation around targeting FPO, but FPOs they say are not working well. Most of the FPOs are not working well. Any ideas how to target FPOs and any opportunity for model
Yeah.
that help develop FPOs?
No, absolutely. That's a great opportunity now. There are with the FPOs, right? There are 2-3 angles with the FPO. One is about these FPOs are able to produce and how can you able to find a market for them, right? There is one way that you can look at that, find out in your area any FPOs that you are aware of, these FPOs who have a potential of having some products today, the produce, then how can you help them in marketing those. The second is about technology intervention for these FPOs as well. So if there are, FPOs have produced enough tomatoes, and if you find a technology which can probably make a dry tomato or a ketchup or something, then can you also able to probably talk to them and identify and see how can you help them in processing. But today the movement is limited, so figure out people who are nearby you. So people who are nearby you, how you can help them in using this easy way of, is it a sun-dried, and then now it is summer, it's a very good sign for now for us to do a sun-dried tomato, right? Like that, can we do a solar-based drying system? You can probably start looking at some ideas, reach out the FPOs and tell them that don't wait these vegetables, and what are all the ways that they could utilize, probably start using the drying mechanism, processing mechanism. That is one angle. Then the third angle is about how you are going to start looking at the different ideas about even inputs while you are growing as well, that what are all the ways that you could target and help them. So the last item is that, some of these FPOs also looking for smart CEOs. So in my experience, many of the FPOs I've met, the successful FPOs are all having a very, very capable or a very business savvy CEO, right? If you look at Vilas Shinde of Sahyadri Farms, right? He's a MTech agriculture graduate. He understands the business very well. He's able to build a 320 crore business without any funding from anybody, no government, no NABARD, no support. It's all by the farmer funding. He's able to create a 320 crore venture purely with ability of the business angle. So the other one is about the other FPOs where we have the CEOs, right? So they have the CEOs where coming from the outside part. So you have the Trilochan Sastry, who is running an amazing NGO in Anandapur. It's the second driest place in the country, working with the dal farmers, right? Again, they are able to create models for marketing these products very well. And they are able to take the technology. Same the example I gave you about turmeric. And it is managed by one of our native lead angel investor who has a special interest, who hired a CEO who is managing this FPO. So that is another area that many of these FPOs may be needing a good CEOs. If many of your startups, if you have a lot of interest working in agriculture areas, if you want to pivot, this may be a great opportunity. Probably you can just join an FPO and help the FPO to grow as well, that you are able to get. That's what I call it this, that here's an opportunity for you to pivot, to adapt, so that you are able to pivot as whatever is required. Is it essential? And you can probably find a job in a FPO as well, go join as a CEO, probably help them to market these products, help them do that. In Tamil Nadu, probably last year, there's one of these NGOs by Muthu Velaidam. We did an event, what we call as farmers and into farming. So we brought out about 25 FPOs, and all these FPOs came together, and we brought around 25 youth to this meeting as well. And these are all engineering graduates, right? In Tamil Nadu, with the engineering graduate, they are getting like 5,000, 10,000 rupees salary, working in restaurants and all that, because there's an oversupply of engineers, but they don't want to go in agriculture. Right? We did a sensitizing session for them that how can they come back and become a CEO of these FPOs as well. So like this, there is plenty of opportunities available for you to work with FPOs based on your skill level, and how can you repurpose your skill for different things that you can try. Yeah, good. Next question, Sri.
One Prem Basa has said he has some technology, especially in case of function and usage, and one of us can help him out. So actually, you can discuss with us separately on this particular aspect, how to develop and how to discuss it. Am I right, sir? Uh, Someone wanted,
Yes.
Mr. Shivkumar wanted, can the person with dehydrated vegetables share the contact detail? This is the Shivkumar of, I think, MBA, MBAF Madurai Center. He wanted to that. So,
Sure, yeah.
the
Just
next question.
get all the
The
questions,
next question
Srinivas,
is
and you
that
can send it to me,
Indian
then I can
agriculture
probably
supply
answer to
chain
them as
has
well.
been high. I think it's 2, 3 more, 5 minutes we can talk on these things.
About what?
The another question, Mr. Deepak Kumar said, thank you for the session. The Indian agriculture supply chain has been highly fragmented. After this financial downturn, do you think we will be seeing more aggregation at farmers level, especially in terms of supply chain players? Uh, Mr. Victor again says, how do you view the difference in how the state or geographies are responding and rebound from the COVID and will rebound from the COVID? Any type of different types of innovation in technology or process?
Yeah, I think, okay, there's one, we'll talk about that state responding to COVID. I think some of the states have done amazingly well. I think there's quite a bit of writing about Kerala, right? They are came out very fast and quite a lot of innovations available. There is widely, it is written about. You could also look at the Satwa Consulting website. Satwa Consulting is one of my portfolio. We work with CSR about how do we, help in COVID. So there is an initiative by Satwa called India Data Insights. So if you go visit the website, India Data Insights, you will find quite a lot of detailed information about every state to a district level about what is happening and what are the activities happening as well. If you are also providing solutions to COVID, you could also register there. We are also accumulating different startups, different people providing different kind of solutions. Needing help in areas as well. Like for example, so what we are looking at is one is about fighting the problem, right? And there's a lot of initiatives, efforts happening around it. If you are in COVID, government DST has created this program called Kavach, and which is around the safety part of it. If you have any innovation that you could apply and do that. And if different states have come up with that as well, like Kerala state government, if you go to their website, they're asking for quite a lot of innovations. If you have innovation that could solve any of these problems that you could apply. And many good innovations are about what they have done in ability to take care of the people who are poor, because they are the ones, many people sitting at home, they are trying to figure out how to kill time. But there are many people out there, they are trying to figure out food. There is quite a bit of effort happening in that, but that's not enough. So we need more and more activities that need to come forward, providing the livelihood opportunity to the people. If you look at Bangalore, there we have 2 million people living in slums. So there are many of them are daily wage workers. They are struggling for food. There are a lot of people are trying there's one of the catering company which was incubated in IAM, and she was a wedding caterer. But today now his kitchens are making meals for the needy. There is another NGO that works with the physically challenged people. They're all start working now. They are inside IT companies which are all closed. Now her kitchens now, she's making meals. She's feeding 2,000 families every day now. Like this, people are pivoting in this case, and the locally government authorities also able to leverage models to help the people who are in need around the COVID. And we will come up it, and I'm sure the world has seen many crises, stuff like that, and there are a lot of intelligence across the world compared to the 1800s, 1600s plague or This is a completely a new paradigm that we have a technology now. We are able to talk to you. We are able to. But it's also bad. There are a lot of fake news also going on. That's why you do not go to a TV all the time. Just go to the reliable source of information, government sites, to understand the news 2-3 times a day. That's about it. The rest of the time, start spending time about how can you repurpose your skill to rebuild your company. How can you make your crisis into an opportunity? The question about the supply chain. So the supply chain is one of these problems for a long time. We saw that APMCs here and there are some good stories, some bad stories about not functioning. Government has created a website called Vyapar for people to go directly do that, which was not also happening very well. So as I mentioned about, there is opportunity for more decentralized options for people to look at, right? So if you look at a commodity exchange, for example, a commodity exchange, which is probably trading the commodities, maybe an orange or coffee, done by a few guys sitting in Wall Street in New York. They have no idea about coffee happening in Chikmagalur or Kur. What is happening, they just look at the climate forecast, some technologies to figure out, okay, this year the production from India is going to be less, then the price is going to be this and that, right? They're all speculating around the commodity exchange. During the commodity exchange thing, there are many people in the commodity exchange, people have made profits, right, sitting in Wall Street. But many of our farmers, they have not able to get any profit about. So this is where you have a great opportunity to rethink about what the supply chain should look like for the new world, and which is able to take care of the models, and can we minimize the number of hops between the producer and the consumer, so that the value is going there. So today the 30 rupees a farmer is selling, right? It is selling in the market as $100, right? For a tomato, probably, which is nothing, no value add, no processing, but why 3 times the more price? Because of the supply chain, right? Each time the produce is being transferred to another hand, it changes the price. So can we figure out, using technology, using the on the ground supply people, can we create systems so that we are able to make sure that we are able to figure out models, we can sell these produce directly to the consumer models, so that we are able to kill the probably traditional supply chain models, which also required to some areas. Like for example, probably in Bangalore, we don't grow potato. But if you look at that, potato is in need for everyday use, but they need to come from, Gujarat and UP, Bihar, the potatoes. So like this, there are produce that need to move. So what is the best model for these? But the rest of it, figure out a way that can we consume a local produce? How do we bring the very good supply chain with cold storage, warehouses, so that you are able to create local models, so that many of these produce sitting in the logistics, sitting in a truck, coming from across the different part of the state, which is going to create a problem on the pricing, right? Or tomato growing probably 100 kilometers from your place, it's not coming to you directly, maybe going to some, mandi in Hyderabad and Visakhapatnam, then somebody is buying there and it's coming back to you at the same price, right? Why? There is no venue for you to directly buy this tomato, which is probably 1 hour drive, 2 hour drive for you. So like this, supply chain disruption will happen, and we also started seeing that today, that how, the potential of these Kirana stores is surviving better than big e-commerce companies, which is relying on a very, very huge supply chain of things moving around, right? If you look at Amazon, right? You take everything back to everywhere to Nagpur, which is central part of the country. From there, they are pushing out, and they're not able to move things around today. But Farmers Fresh Zone or Agrimitra, all these people who are accessing a farmer, which is 2 hours drive, they're surviving better. A Kirana store or a local pushcart vendor is able to have a produce for you to sell because he is working on a decentralized model. So there's going to be more work around decentralized model is coming up. So you should probably also, if you have more skills, knowledge. You should also start thinking, innovate, share your ideas with AI idea. I will be happy to explore those as well. Yeah, thank you. Next question.
Thank you, sir. But I just wanted to have a small and add-on question on this. When you said it is going to be a decentralized position, uh, are we not coming from again globalization back to the localization, local way of doing the business?
Oh, very good. That's a very good question because so that transformation already started happening, right? If you look at US, the president kept telling about make US great again, right? What he's saying that I want to bring the jobs back, and you want to build walls around Mexican border, right? The richest country in the world is going back into looking at inward, right? And we saw that, Brexit, where UK is coming out of the European Union, they were feeling that why should I support poor people in Turkey or some other place while I have my own problems. So slowly that started things happening. There is this thought process happening in the world. I think there's an article written, something called somewhere and nowhere, right? So in a globalized world earlier, there is a bunch of people who are anywhere, who can probably, who could be somebody like, me, like I grew up in Madurai, studied in Madurai, and I went to US, studied there. I lived there at 10 years without wondering about India at all. So at some point I said I will come back and I want to do something in the country. I came back. So like this, people like me, these are all anywhere, right? They will go pitch a tent anywhere in the world. They don't miss anything. They are happily live wherever it is possible. That's called anywhere. But there are thing called somewhere. Somewhere is that people who strongly feel about their roots. They started seeing that the anywhere people moving all around. They started threatening the roots of these somewhere people. Right? This is a great book written by somebody in Europe. You could probably look it up. So we started seeing that the somewhere started winning. Every country started looking inward, right? Because the globalization, it created a lot of global solution. India is a beneficiary of a globalization from the IT perspective. We are able to create a $250 billion industry out of nothing in the 2 decades we are able to create. But at the same time, still we have around 250 million, 700 million about living in poverty lines, right? We are not able to bring many people out of poverty. If you look at the US, where there is a problem happened about rest of us, there is an income gap between the rich and the ordinary people are widening. They are wondering about if a big IT company is moving its resources somewhere in China or India, making it cheaper. It took care of the state shareholders and it took care of the company, but did not take care of the country. So that is why, the people have started looking at more of the localized. So before COVID itself, the localization started coming. Even in India, we started having the Make in India campaign, right? Because we realized that every cell phone we have, every electronics we have is being imported. We started looking at we should make it in our own country. Like that, every country started looking at inward, and COVID will accelerate this big time because people will blame the globalization for the spread of it. If we look at that today, people who are leaving the cities, going to the villages, what I call about Bharat saying bye to India, they are saying this is a city disease, right? So they feel that it came to city people. And city feels that it came to city because of the airports, right? Because of the people flying around. So then people will start looking around. Is a global world. So I am traveling to US, Europe to sell my products, and while doing that, I also brought these virus also to my home. So this is where some of the thought process will happen around the globalization. The whole world started looking in that direction already. With the US, the way it was going, with the Brexit, with the way India was going, we already started looking inward. I'm sure that trend will continue and will get accelerated more and more in the coming times. Yes.
Okay, probably I can take one question finally. That is basically on the poultry bond, one of the accelerated company in our Agri Udan 3 cohort. They wanted to ask about the cold storage, any point of contact or how to approach for the cold storage, because they say that they have the remote monitoring system which can be used in the cold storage as well.
Okay, very good. So we could connect you with some of these cold storage companies. There is a IIM Ahmedabad company called Ecozone, which is providing cold storage systems to farmers. It's IIT Kharagpur company. They are building technologies using a solar powered cold storages. So we'll be happy to connect. I'm sure CIE we have some connect, or I can connect with those guys. You can talk to them. Yeah.
The last, although it's the time to over, but the last question which I am seeing is an interested from one of
No,
the.
I'm fine. I think if you don't have any other program in the same room, I'm okay to continue to some more time. Yeah.
No, okay. After this, probably we'll be shifting. We have the time limit, 15 minutes more. But after that, it will be cut. That thing is that after this lockdown is over, do you think the focus of angel investors and venture capitalists will shift from tech industries to food and beverage industry? This is an interesting question. So I thought I'll ask it this.
That's right. No, it's very good. So even today, if you look at the company like Ola, which raised like $3.2 billion, right? That's quite a lot of money, and which is almost 10% of what the government has announced as a relief package, right? So like the company raised that much money with 25-day lockdown, and they are not even able to take care of their own drivers, right? And so what happened to all the money? So there is a thought process going around. These kind of startups which is able to raise a lot of money and they are not able to sustain during this crisis, right? If you look at any big company, you're not seeing like we saw Swiggy is laying off people, Oyo is laying off people, Ola is coming to people asking for donation to take care of the drivers. They raised $3.2 billion. What happened to all the money, right? So there's a questions coming out to people about these businesses are they sustainable, right? So that is one part. It's going to be there for people's mind when we start looking at, and post this as well. It's going to take time for them, some of them to come up, and they're all burning a lot of money a lot, right? So many of them will in a position to shut it down or merge and all that stuff. So when that happens, people will start looking at more probably a sustainable model that, okay, companies are sustaining or not. Even before COVID itself, we started looking at people calling the word cockroaches, unicorn versus zebras and all those things, right? Because even the unicorn, they are not able to scale that level because India is not ready for that kind of a scale also in the tech part of it, IT related things, right? So thanks to the Walmart, we are able to have a good story around Flipkart. So there is going to be an interesting thought process around where that investment going to be, and people are going to look at sustainable model. Like for example, this Farmers Fresh Zone today, that during the last 20 days they've raised their revenue went up 300%. So I asked Pradeep to send an email to around 20 VCs, and we have now VCs are ready to invest in this company, right? Similar VCs who asked a question at the Agri Udan demo day, they asked a question to Pradeep. They're asking that, are you a supply chain company or a consumer company? And he said that I am a consumer company. I know my supply chain, but people did not understand that answer. But today he has a proof to show it to people that what he told is able to prove it. While big companies raise a lot of money, is not able to sustain, and he is able to grow 300%. The same VCs could not understand his model, is now willing to raise invest money in him. We are seriously talking to two to three of them to raise money for him during this crisis. So that is where the potential is, that use this crisis, showcase that you are sustaining, you have an ability to scale. Even this crisis, people will be coming to fund you, or people are watching that what all the models are sustaining, they will come after as well, because some of them are have to take care of their portfolio as well. During the crisis, they have to do bridge around, they have to take care of, give them some loans and stuff like that. So they may not be aggressively funding, but post, they're going to look at sustainable models, sustainable companies, the companies which can probably build futuristic thinking process that can, probably weather through major, any problem comes in their way, they will be weather through it, they will be able to sustain and come forward. There is always a potential. There is a second is about, it is always about scale. In an investment, in equity investment, it is all about the scale. So if you are able to scale, that's how the equity investor makes money, right? I'll always give this quick 101 about how equity investment works, right? If you want 10 lakhs, I gave you 10 lakhs and I took 10% of your company. That means I valued your company at 1 crore. How am I going to make money? You need to be innovative. You are scaling very well. So somebody is going to give you 1 crore and you value your company at 5 crore. How is going to make money? So you are continuing to scale, you are doing very well, that someone else give you 5 crore, valuing at 25 crore. So my money went up 25 times on paper. But the person who put 5 crore in your company, how is going to make money? You have to scale faster, you are doing very well, so that another person is going to invest some more money, or you do an IPO, right? So this I call as a Ponzi scheme, right? We are waiting for the next person to come and take it forward. So that's how the equity model is working. So why the tech was favored? Because they were hoping the tech, the scalability could be very fast. They can very quickly, they build this company fast enough, because many of the fund are 10-year-old fund. That means that first 5 years they will invest in the company, next 5 years they have to exit from the company. So that means that they want companies building $100 million in 5 years. They were bidding only those companies, right? So that is where you need to look at that, are you building a scalable company that will make returns for the investors? Then it doesn't matter the tech or anything else. I think people will be interested in it. So that is where you need to start looking at it. The second thing is about this crisis also will create a fantastic news for the impact investors, because these days there is more of the impact investors have moved to mainstream, because they promise a lot of returns to their investors, and they are not, the impact investing means it's a long-term horizon. You wait, it's called patient capital. You have a lot of patience after you invested. But many wrong people also entered in the impact sector, and they promised a lot of money to their investors. So they also started pushing towards tech a lot, even in impact side of it. But this crisis also will create a great opportunity to find a new set of impact investors who would come with the pure impact focus, which is going to look at areas which is required for the country, which is required for taking care of people. I think that's a great opportunity for people working in business models who are helping farmers, who are helping poor people, who are helping people out of poverty. There is going to be a huge models out there as well. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. Very well said. And we are running out of time now. Actually, a couple of questions are there, which I think we will reply them on mail, like Rahul has said. What are the documents for agri startups? They are mostly in a very, very initial stage to understand what exactly the scenario is there. Probably they wanted to start their own companies or that. With this, probably we'll be ending. But before we end, I must really tell Naga sir has covered almost all the every aspect of what the startup has to do, starting from funding, skilling, then understanding the agriculture supply chain, and most importantly, at present scenario, repurposing your own way of doing the things, and even probably I can say you can look out of how to change your vision in the present scale and rethink how the future is going on, especially when he was dealing on the sustainability model. He was telling great detail about the tech versus routine normal companies which have some innovations, which he dealt lastly from the point perspective of as an investor. So, sir, this is an important thing, and thank you very much for giving us time. Almost it is 1 hour 10 minutes that we have talked upon, and thank you very much, and thank you everybody for joining this particular course. Thank you, and bye. And rest of the
All the
things will
best,
be
everyone.
giving you the reply. Thank you very much, sir.
Bye.
Close చేద్దానా మీటింగ్?